the new plumbing works.
Ready for this?
No.
Gives you a wake-up call.
He said he
Stop
index
eating all
up to
those
100 on
triple
Wednesday, and I'm
burgers
like,
and
no, no.
everything from pork sausage you
Not,
can
not ready
have.
for that.
Well, last week when I got out of work, it was 95. I know. My car just sits in the sun all day.
I bet you could get
I thought, oh, I forgot. It's only 95.
unlimited.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
While you were flying at all or anything?
Well, as it turns out, I'm lucky because 2 months before the primary thing says I'm getting a little old, so I went to what's called a basic med instead of the 3 classes of ones that are rigorously done every year and things like that. And basic med is basically it's you're working with your own physician, and the rules of thumb they're really clear, they're there, but as long as there's not been a heart attack, you're allowed to do it. And so the enzyme testing, we got the records and things like that. So it was all premature for that. So it's no sweat. So I'm good for the basic med, and I can. Interesting enough, so, even my work as a flight instructor, when I retired, I decided I'd become a little instructor part-timer for this thing. The FAA considers that job as an instructor rather than a person who is
a pilot?
yeah, and in some of the cases I have to be the pilot in command, okay, but I'm not being paid for piloting, I'm being paid for instructing. That's good.
Yeah, we'll take it all.
Yep, so it's interesting, it's a little window. Top of the morning, Danny? Yes, sir. Yeah.
What's that, Dad?
Yeah, that's right. Well,
I mean, sorry. Part 103 is me.
you got it, no sweat. Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, the driver's license is luckily this is and one of the crews that I help instruct is
We have
is
donuts
a
and water
power
if
sport,
anybody wants any.
and that category is one that if a person has a valid driver's license, they are good to go. So it's
Yeah, I wondered about that, after you resigned from the thing, I thought, I wonder what's all this hard stuff going on with,
well, it's a valid question, but fortunately I got that clear in advance, and the checkups are going good. So that's
I don't know where he's going to place it.
Top of the morning, Marvin.
Recording device. I'm going to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Top of the morning. All right.
You sit there in the front.
Yeah, in the back of the front. Top of the morning. I'd love to, except I'm already booked with somebody else either way. But that's good, isn't it?
It's just so rare where you've been here for a
No. So some of these folks have flex schedules, so it says they book for 30 minutes, and you gotta make sure that Either way, good, Marvin. Really fun.
Do you have to sign in? Is that the idea?
You can be an independent guy.
If you want to speak, maybe.
We didn't even, like a space cadet, I forgot to bring that.
So, just curious, did you figure out what happened with the pilot?
Unfortunately,
I forgot my agenda. I was just
turns
looking
out
over your shoulder.
the conditions for the landing were really tough because of the strong crosswind with gusts, and you roll that into the fact that it's a narrow runway and a real high performance airplane. And so in those situations you have to land fast, and if you're landing fast you have the risk of running out of runway of our runway. So he was running 5 or 6 different things at the same time. And so just as he was getting ready to sit down, a gust hit him, and he went to full power, naturally, to fly underneath. And as it turns out, that airplane is built for speed. It's not built for performance. It's slow, and so the tail is small, and the engine power is really big. It's over 200 horsepower. So with full power, you get automatically a left turning tendency on any airplane But usually the rudder is big enough to help maintain that, and his is sad.
Somebody said he was practicing landing and taking a touchdown.
Right, right.
So it's like, okay, he's so far away from the air.
No, oh yeah, this is over there.
No, as it turns out, no, he was actually getting ready to touch down. That's when he pulled the full power, and it basically it's controlling himself, and that's it. Yeah, that's what
Remember we were having the easement. Exactly. That's what I wanted to clarify with you, that you were absolutely right about that. That's still there. That's what I want to share. Sure.
Form position. Which one is backing out?
If I get volunteer? Yeah, if I get volunteer, yeah. Yeah, it's the second thing on our agenda.
There's no window.
After the roll call. Yeah, if people volunteer, absolutely. Yeah. Bring it on. Well, bring your name up, yeah.
But they need to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we have. Yeah, we have two already.
We have two already?
Yeah, we did. Myself and somebody else.
You know, if I was left-handed, I don't know.
Mickey says it's a voicemail. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a voicemail.
Why Mickey? I was calling her Sammy earlier.
Mickey Mouse.
Oh, Mickey Mouse.
Mickey's big hand is almost at 12.
You don't have a.
Oh, well, that's me.
And her arm, next to her arm.
The thing is, it's crazy. And should have I forgot to be something to make it. Well, I got him, and the thing is that my mind clicked wrong.
So you were a big grim happy now.
No, not at all. No. Well, is that look at something?
Just a little. Yes, you are, bro. Morning, Carol. They call me one more time.
Present.
I just want to hear it. It's fun. Right is on there. We'll just pass it all around. I'm doing it. Yes, you may. had donuts and water up here if anybody wants a donut. Want me to bring them to you? Are they more enticing if I come deliver them to you?
Would you hold it for me while I eat it?
You can't say no to sprinkles.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Nothing? Anybody? Come on! My son and husband do not need these, so. And nor
You
do
don't know
I.
what to do.
Okay, great. I also got some bottled water.
An army of them. Yes.
Yes.
Way over my daily total. So I just don't eat the rest of the day. I'll be drinking my dinner tonight. If Danny's
I did the same thing.
Yeah, that's what
the women are in bed again.
we had the blower in the house. The what? We're not talking. The blowers to go upstairs.
Welcome everybody. Hope everybody got a donut. If not, have one so it doesn't go to my hips. I did put some fogger out around the perimeter. Hopefully it'll keep the bugs away. I also have bug spray if anybody needs it for their ankles. If you start to get bit up, I've got it up here. So I'd like to do a roll call, if I could. Who's here? I'll start with Renee. You're taking notes?
Yeah.
Yeah, our assistant is here.
I'm the
Yeah.
assistant secretary, treasurer, agent.
Jeff Walker here, vice president. Brian is in the audience. He's another board member that was brought on at the last meeting. So we have that with us today. So welcome to your water plant. I think it's a good idea to have it here. Kind of excited to let you guys go around on a tour with our AWR support team that's here today. Mike and Tammy. Mike is one of our operations managers here, or I should say for AWR, so he knows the plant real well, and he'll give you a quick tour when we get to that section of it. I think it's fascinating what we do and what we really need to do in the future to continue. So as that's going around, the sign-in sheet, sign in, and if anybody wants to speak, we'll give you guys about 5 minutes to fill that out, and if anybody wants to speak, we'll start with that. Or we can move on. We can move on to item number 3 on the agenda. Does anybody need a copy of the agenda? I've got copies. Anybody else?
Stick one together.
Here's one. Yeah, I got that one.
Anybody else? Thank you. You want to pay it too? Anybody else?
Okay, we'll move on to item number 3. Anybody want to volunteer to join us on the board? Okay. Going once, going twice. It's really fun now. Look at us. Come on now. Very limited chaos going on. What?
Can we offer to join the board at any time?
Yes, you can.
We don't have to do it at a meeting?
No, it has to be approved at a meeting, but you can fill out your application and send it to us.
Okay.
Yes. So, continue to think about it. We're on a right direction. You're going to hear some of that today from what I put together, or what we put together on the agenda, what these guys are going to talk about, and what we've been doing on some of our compliance strategies back there. So with that, I think the sign-in sheet is just about finished in the back, and then we'll move to public comment. So any one of you who signed in for public comment want to stand right now in the front? Who signed up for public comment? Danny? Are you the only one, Danny?
Yep, I think so. Did you sign?
That sounds good.
Did you sign the top?
Jeanette? No public comment?
Everybody on?
Okay. We'll open it up to public comment. Danny Flunker.
And I just assume stand right here. So on December 20th, 2023, I did a PIA request for financials. And Renee and I were supposed to sit down and go over it. And on April 2nd, I got a letter from the law firm saying, here's all the financials. Except that they left out one thing, the most important thing that we've been trying to get for 2 years now, is the QuickBook native files. So on April 25th, I replied to Ms. Shine, the attorney, I guess, and told her that I had never received the QuickBook native files, and that's my formal complaint. And Tuesday, I'm going down to sit down with the AG and file a complaint because none of my public information requests have been honored in the last year. I mean, not just this, but I had requested, it's on the agenda, the stuff, invoices and meter readings and contracts for the Spectrum deal, and was never given any of that either. Anyway, like I said, Tuesday I'm going down and sit down with the AG, and I feel at this point, April 25th to today, there's been more than enough time to get me the information. Thank you.
Okay. I'll bring that up with the attorneys of where we stand on that and why it hasn't been satisfied. So, good look at that. Anybody else have any public comment? That is probably the least amount of people who've signed up for public comment since I started coming to the meetings in a year and a half. I don't know if that's a good thing or you guys are holding back, but I take it as a good thing. Don't you, Renee? I kind of do. So at least I'm going to leave it at that.
Jeff?
What? Go ahead.
Public question?
Public question.
When you get to the financial statements, are you going to entertain questions?
We'll answer questions to the full extent that I've got the documents here, Marvin.
Thank you.
Otherwise,
Thank you.
Yeah.
as you know, the legal answer is that not required to answer questions.
I understand that. That's why I posed the question.
But we will definitely. It's just everything that I've got in my notes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Well, great. Let's go on to item number 5. This will be the plant tour. Before we do the plant tour, Tammy, the president of AWR, is here to talk about operations, what's been happening over the last 2 months, is that what we have, 2 months, and such, tell you how everything's going, how everything's working. He's the president of AWR, and then we'll get into a tour. I've got a diagram of our plant that I'll pass out to everybody, and then Mike from AWR is going to take, I don't know, Mike, do you want to break these into 2 groups, or can you take them all at once? Okay, probably everybody can go at the same time. So, Tammy.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Just a few quick things I wanted to go over with you is
Can you come forward some, because we
Oh, I
can't
can't
hear
hear
back here. The air conditioner's going, so
Oh,
we
yeah, I
can't
see
hear
the
you.
cars going by. So I just want to give you a few quick updates. One, I'm going to start with the drought. So as you all saw, a reminder came out via alert saying, hey, everybody, we're on 1 day a week. LCRA has changed and they have amended their drought contingency plan. They've changed some of their stages. They've changed some of their triggers as to when they go into the different stages. You all are currently in your drought contingency plan of 2.5, which is 1 day a week, which is great because that's where LCRA is in their new stage 2, which is 1 day a week. But they are requiring all firm water customers, which Windermere is a firm water customer, to amend their drought contingency plan to mirror theirs. They said you can be more strict, but you have to be at least with us. So you guys don't go to 1 day a week to your 2.5. They're at 1 day a week starting with 2, for example. So there's a whole list. I have been reading everybody's drought contingency plans and the LCRA's plans for the last, 4 months, and going through it and working with everybody. So I have a draft mock-up of what would need to change in your plan to present to the board, because we've got to get that amended and approved and into the board by June 1st. I've already sent that in. But I just wanted to say in the meantime, it's serious. Yes, we've had some really good rains lately, but I don't know if you've looked at it, but Travis is still only 40% full, right? And so it wasn't enough to fill us up to get us out of that issue yet. So please just continue the 1 day a week at this point. The other thing that they're doing, the LCRA is doing, is I attended a meeting with them a few months ago, or last month, and basically they said, we're predicting that by fall, we're going to be into stage 4, which for them is no outside watering at all. And if we go to stage 4, every firm water customer, which is Windermere, is going to be put on a 20% curtailment. So what they did was they sent out and they said they took a 12-month rolling period prior to the drought and said, this is what you all did during those 12 months. And those are this is your limit, this is your baseline. And when we go to stage 4, we're going to knock it down 20% for each month. And if you all go over that, we're going to fine you. If you go under it, we'll credit you. So that's another thing that I'm working with. So between now and July 1st, I'll be working with the board on a curtailment plan, because we have to submit to them to say, this is how we're going to meet those needs. When you start taking 20% away from us, this is how we're going to work with the customers to reduce our water use by 20%. That's due to LCRA on July 1st. So these are two big deals that I've been working on. And like I said, for the next meeting, I'll be able to give you the curtailment plan draft, but you already have the amendment. I feel like I'm...
There you go.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
No, don't
There
worry.
you go.
We can hear you.
All right. So, so there's that. And then the only other thing I wanted to really go over with is, so every year, every district has to send out a consumer confidence report. It goes out, and it'll be in your May statements that Lori sends out, and it'll have a link to it, and she'll post it on the website, and it basically says, this is everything that happened last year and all the testing for last year. You have no violations, which is great. So that'll be coming out in May. And then my only other report was, what we've done in leaks and repairs and stuff.
Yes.
So for the last 2 months, we only had 1 leak reported, and that was the flush valve over in Coventry.
Is that the one that was in the box? That
The one
somebody
that fell over,
somebody knocked it over. We don't know what happened.
We thought it was a car at first. At nighttime, that's what it looked like. The next day, it looked like maybe something else hit it, but it definitely got knocked.
It definitely got whacked.
It wasn't just
Okay.
I've heard.
Right. Okay.
So that's pretty
So it
much
was an accidental break, basically.
I don't know who did it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so that's kind of what we've been doing the last couple of months. Also working to kind of clean up the area, get some files organized, and that type of stuff. So I think that's really all I have until we go into the tour.
Great. Question.
When you go to stage 4 for no outdoor flowing, does that also include drip?
Okay, that's a very good question.
We
so,
couldn't hear the question.
Hey, Tammy, can you repeat it?
Yeah, so
Thank
the question was, when LCRA goes to stage 4, which means you guys would go to stage 4 as well, the question was, and there's no outside watering, does drip count? And drip is not allowed at that point. So stage 3, so right now they're in stage 2, 1 day a week so the current is 1 day a week from midnight to 10 a.m. and from 7 p.m. to midnight. When they go to, if we go to stage 3, which is their stage 3, it'll still stay 1 day a week, drip is okay, but it's 6 hours a day instead of 15. So you can only water 6 hours a day. Drip is still okay at that time. When they go to stage 4, they're cutting everything off. And it's all about household use. Yes.
So LCRA, I think, manages the water from Lake Buchanan all the way through the Longhorn Dam in Austin, is that right?
Yes.
Or all the way to the Gulf?
So Lake Buchanan and Lake Travis are what they call the Highland Lake storage.
Yeah.
And that's what they're monitoring their trigger levels.
Okay, so my question is, all of the new subdivisions and apartments, if we go to 4, they will be included?
Everybody will be included, yes.
Okay, including Austin and all
Yeah, and
that.
that was the other thing, because when I attended, of course, I'm there with all the firm water customers, right?
Yeah.
And I attended, and we're all like, yeah, what about all those people that have straws in the
Right.
lake and they're sucking it up, and they got green lungs in August, and they're like, it's everybody.
Okay.
Anybody that has an account with the LCRA is on that. We're like, well, how are you? We're gonna do people in boats and driving by, and
I was like, okay, so they,
I have
they've
to put a
got,
meter on it and then to make it work better, but
yeah, some system to
Yeah.
actually for people
Yeah.
to be accountable in enforcement.
Yeah, and there was even they did a press release where they said all the cities, the count, they're all making them go to this, so you won't be alone.
Okay, and then how does that impact fire? You know, folks, if a fire happens, I'm assuming the fire department will get the water they need.
Well, so that's another reason why they go to that, and they don't want you irrigating, so that because water is limited, and they want to make sure you have it for drinking and fire.
All right, thank you.
Did you have a question? Tim?
Question in the
Oh,
front.
Yeah, I was.
Uh,
He had his
Oh, I'm sorry.
hand up first. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I was just, part of it got answered about Lake Buchanan, stuff like that. You know, it seems like they fill theirs up and then we don't get anything.
Yeah.
So it's like my question was, when you go to stage 4, they have to go to stage 4 and everybody above that.
So
Yeah.
down the stream too, so people taken out of Lake Austin as well as
Correct.
Town
City of
Lake,
Austin, everybody. They're all having to go to that. Now, if you're on a well, you're not part of CRA, right, or LCRA. So, but it's interesting because we also do operations for a couple of districts that are on well water, and they're so when the lakes go down, the aquifers are also going down. So I have two accounts that are on wells, and they're both on 1 day a week watering right now. And the reason why is when it's hard for those wells to recharge because the aquifers are going down. We just had to lower a pump in one of them.
If we go to stage 4 and you're cut back 20% and you exceed that in how much you cut back, do you get to carry that forward to the next month, or does it zero out every month?
No, so according to LCRA, and I've not been through this with them before, so I'm just now getting all the rules and regulations on that, and that's why they had this meeting on it as well. As I understand, you don't get to carry anything forward, or they will fine you each month, or they might do it at a quarterly
each month
basis.
is its own.
Each month is its own deal, so they will fine you per month, or they'll credit you per month, but it'll be done in a quarterly basis, if that makes sense. Because they said they couldn't constantly do it, but they will
Sure.
track you monthly, and at the end of the quarter, whether you're over or under for each month is what you'll get,
Okay.
is how it
So
is.
Tammy, that would apply to us, that over/under, or does it apply to the individual?
No, it's the firm water. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
the
you
firm
have to,
water, okay.
Right, so the firm water doesn't get, that's why you have to enforce it
In the community,
customers,
got it,
within-
okay.
yeah,
I
so that-
just wanted the
so
audience
you
and
don't
myself
want-
to
You don't want the
clear,
firm water
right.
to get in trouble. The other
Right.
thing too is if you don't amend your drought contingency plan to kind of mirror it like I talked, it's up to a $10,000 fine for the firm water company. So I was like, yeah, I've been busy with all of our districts.
So what happened, you know, we're, I guess, accustomed to leaks in our water system. What if we have a leak?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so a leak still counts as your water usage. That's why you got to
Yep.
stop it and repair it as quickly as possible.
So what about leaks before the meter?
Same thing.
Well, before the
it's
meter
all-
is the water company, before the meter.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but I think you're talking about the fine, right? Like,
Yeah.
right. So, just so you know, so when that water comes from the lake, and you're going to get the tour, when the water comes from the lake into this water plant, there's a meter. We report how much, we record that day's reading. We send it to them. Then the same day, the next month, we record that meter. They take the difference and say, this is how much you used. And they can compare that
And
with
you
your
add up all
baseline.
all the meter usage, and what the difference is called water loss, right?
Right.
Now, are you fined on
Somewhat.
water loss?
Yeah.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
They're just looking at it as, this is what your meter read was March 5th. This is what your meter read was April 5th. I'm just giving dates. And you used, let's just say, 10 acre feet. But that month you were only supposed to have 8 acre feet. we're gonna fine you. Or vice versa. You used 8 and you were allowed 10, you get a credit.
So how do they go about distinguishing if you're gonna fine the entire water company? How does the water company then turn and enforce it to each individual? Because one individual may be being very diligent about their
Right.
water usage and another one may be watering all night long.
So, and that's a
how do you
very
dis-
good question because you all are on mechanical meters. So we can only read once a month. If I have other districts that are on electronic, we can read you anytime, any day. And so those are a lot easier to manage. So it's gonna be a lot of work. What we do though is we can see what you do at the end of every month and we know if you cut back from the month before. So in your drought contingency plan, there's an enforcement policy and the fines will come out of there if we get to that.
And is that like a maximum of so many gallons a month? I mean, how do we determine that we're cutting back individually 20% to water bill?
Well, the 20% is, I know what you did last month and I know what you did this month. And was that up or down? Yeah. With mechanical meters, unless you do drive-bys, which I don't think anybody wants to do, there's no way to enforce that part. It's got to be on a monthly basis.
I can see a problem with these some timers who come here on the weekends or their rentals or all that kind of stuff. They're not.
care.
It's not a straight line. You know, they may be here and not here, and
What we've found is usually with the districts, there's always like a group that are always the ones that are doing the most. And if you can work with them to get them, then you usually don't have a problem. The majority of your residents usually participate. So rather than going out and scolding everyone, you just kind of work with the others to get them in line. That's what we found with all the other districts is you've always got some that they're like, I don't care, find me, right? And it's probably less than 20 usually. And you just go after and start working with them and try to
I guess
educate.
my statement was, one month there might not be anybody living there.
Right.
The next month, we go to stage 4, somebody may be living there and using 20% or 100% more water than they did the month before.
Right.
So,
Well, I don't think it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. If your water use was 0 and all of a sudden it's free, right?
Yeah.
0 gallons and now it's 3,000. We could see that and know that obviously someone wasn't there before. If it's 0, we know you're not there.
There would seem to be
I
a,
think really more than anything, it's educating. And here's where we are, guys. We need everyone's help. Here's what's this. You can do this. Did you know this? X, irrigation represents X. This is what our lakes are looking like, that kind of stuff. And I think once you start doing that, at least, and we've seen that happening with everyone else. I got one, it's a water corporation like this, no taxes, right? They rely 100% on water sales. And because we've implemented the one day, they've started going down and down. So now they're actually in a situation that says, well, how do we maintain operations if we're limiting our only source of income? So some cities and some corporations have actually implemented drought fees. So like I'm in the city of Cedar Park. When we went to 1 day a week, which was a year ago, my base is higher and my rates are higher. And they said during this drought, we have to collect higher rates for the drought. As soon as the drought's over, we go back to normal. Yes, sir.
there would seem to be a ironic silver lining in your numbers because of your leak history. The historical numbers that you're going to have for prior years is potentially substantially higher than true use. If you can keep your leak problem under control, you're going to have a buffer built into the number that others won't have.
That's a good point. Y'all have been prone to a lot of leaks. The other thing too is being able to isolate your leaks. So that's the one problem as operators that we have is, You know, usually if a leak happens on a particular street, we can go shut off the valve, and it's just those people on that street. But here, it seems like we're having to shut off almost everybody when leaks happen in certain places because there aren't the isolation valves that need to be there.
I think Tammy, on the whole reporting thing, I think I just made a note. I think on the next board meeting, we have all this data between your group, Lori's group, and so on, and billing and usage, meter readings, and so on. I mean, there is tons of data that comes out on reports, and maybe at the next board meeting, we're going to have a discussion on just reports. Like, I think everything you're talking about, you can produce, and you're just taking our data from what you're seeing in the
Yeah,
plan.
so
And on billing,
Right.
on usage,
We're not
individual
we're not
usage,
billing.
like, here's this particular property, like they have the peaks and valleys.
Right.
I think we can massage that anyway.
Yeah.
Because we have the data, we just don't know what is relevant to the community as far as
Sure.
how do you want us to
Yeah,
report
it
it?
would
Because
have
we
to be
can,
working with Lori
yeah, we
for
can,
sure, 'cause she
yeah.
does all the billing.
I
We
mean,
don't
she
have
does
the
all the
record.
billing and she gets all the meter reads and so on. And it's unfortunate that we are on a manual meter read because you can't detect who's, you know, who the spikes
That's
are. But one thing that Mike just brought up, he's one of the lead operators out here, is we need to report those water leaks as soon as possible. And does everybody have the number to call? If you don't, it's on the sign out there, and reach out to any one of us and get that number and put it in your phone. So if you see anything, you know, that's a leak or potential, dial it in, and it's 24/7, 7 days a week, and such. And that's what Tammy's team does.
Yeah, but back to the leaks and about the isolation valve, so that's why everybody gets poor water notice when maybe it's just in a street.
Yeah.
You can't shut off just that street. I think they've got it to where it could at least be airport, non-airport. But we had one get called in just this week, and I was like, unfortunately, it wasn't us. He came in, sent our operator out right away, and he was able to come back and say, no, it's not us. I'm like, oh.
Good. So Tammy, what was
I don't
that?
like shutting everybody down.
Was that on the other side of the meter? You-
No,
you-
it wasn't
oh.
our district.
Oh, it wasn't your,
It wasn't
it was the
Windermere.
district. Oh, okay. So it wasn't Windermere. Okay, good. Yeah, thanks.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but can you adjust rates to enforce behavior?
You can't enforce rates to adjust behavior. Well, okay, let me say two things. If we're talking about the drought, you can't do the rates to enforce behavior, but you have fines, right? So LCRA's fine is, I think it's like $1,000 for this, $500 for the first, and whatever. So you can do that. Now, forget the drought. Can you change your rates to enforce behavior? Yes, you can. And the reason where I say that is one of the districts that I was talking about earlier that is on wells, and it's limited, like it has a hard time recharging. They have their tiers and everything's normal until it gets to over 20,000 gallons. The minute it hits 20,000 gallons, they go after you, and it's a crazy number. And so someone will call and go, I just got a $2,000 water bill. What? What are you guys are trying to? No, actually, it's the opposite. We'll never do that. They want you to keep your limit under 20,000 because the water is precious.
Right, so what I was trying to get to is that we have a yearly rate adjustment, right? So we
Can.
could not look at the rates again due to the drought.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, thank you.
Yeah. The only thing, like I said, is that other corporation is implementing a drought fee. It's a
Right.
one-line item that says,
Yeah.
and it's only for stage 3 and stage 4 they're implementing it. So when they get to stage 3 and stage 4, because stage 3 is 1 day a week but only 6 hours, they're implementing this drought fee, a one-time fee every single month. And then once you get back up out of stage 3 or stage, then it'll go away. So that's another option.
That was a modification in their tariff, wasn't it, for them to be able to do that?
Correct. Right. But I don't know what's, like with everything going on with the PUC and stuff, I don't even want to touch on that right now.
You're right, Tammy. It's quite difficult to,
Yeah, I
as,
think you need
as
to
Brian
follow
mentioned,
your-
we're,
your
we're,
course with your
We're under
PUC.
compliance about
Yeah.
how we can adjust our rates and so on for the next 12 months. So.
Thank you for the info.
Yeah, I know you were. Believe me, I've been looking. A question. One more question. Yes, I'm sorry, Tammy.
You've got a 50-plus-year-old infrastructure here. Are there plans in place to update that infrastructure so that our leaks, our breaks, or?
Yes, so that's a good question as well, because we owe the board a proposal from an engineer and from an operator. So we've been trying to do this for the board, but unfortunately the engineer before is no longer available. So we just partnered with another engineer, a very good engineering firm. We're going to meet with them, come out here, walk all the facilities, give a proposal to the board as to what it would cost to go through and do that analysis. And it would be, what do you need right away? What do you need in 3 years? And what do you need when you're in full growth? And so the board has been waiting on us for that.
It's been known as the operational audit. Audit our facility here, infrastructure, the treatment plant over there. Tell us what we got, label everything, and everything, and then put a priority together. What is the most important thing we should invest in?
I mean, like, for example, I'm just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Fire hydrants. You know fire hydrants?
Yes.
You need fire hydrants, right?
Yeah.
Isolation valves, so that we're not shutting everybody off just because of a leak
Yeah.
over here. We shouldn't be having to shut everybody off over here. So isolation valves that are either already there but don't work, that need to be replaced, or they're not there in the first place, it should be. And then the other thing that comes to top of my mind is flush valves. When you have a dead-end main, you're an example of that.
Yep.
When you have a dead-end main, you're supposed to be flushing on the flush valve. Well, if there's no flush valve, you can't flush. So then the water at that end gets stagnant, right? So flush valves.
I'm just kind of baffled that this has not already been done, that we don't already know and have a five. Are you laughing at me? Having a 5-year plan or something that is already in place, but it sounds like we are really starting at a ground, maybe at a ground zero. I don't know if that's the right term, but
I think it is. Is it Cindy?
yes.
Yes, Cindy, I think we have all of it in our heads. And I'm speaking for these guys because they've seen it. We just haven't got it documented and then reviewed by an engineer like this would be your best, approach to, for the facility here, for inside this plant and out there, where to go. We just haven't had it, and we haven't had the capital.
All of
We just
that
haven't
is-
had the
That's
capital.
my next question.
Yeah,
Once we have the plan, how are you going to fund the plan?
Yeah, exactly. So in order to, we need to understand what we need from a capital standpoint. What is the priority, and that's what this operational audit was going to do. It was going to put on, this is what you need, and then prioritize them, and put some budget and planning numbers as far as cost, and say, okay, membership, this is what they recommend first. Is it a clarifier? Is it isolation valves? Is it smart metering? Whatever, and then what's the benefit, what's the value of each of those that you get. The clarifier might, come to the top because it gets us X, Y, and Z, and so on, and it costs us, $300,000 hypothetically. How do we pay for it? Our rates just got reduced in half, and we're going to be there for a while. So, what do we do as a group? And that's what this operational audit is. We've asked for.
And that's all got to come from the engineer.
Yeah. And you do want an engineer to put it together because
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, I'm just
So, yeah.
amazed at.
Yeah, no, these are just things that I called out were just from us just recently taking over the operations and starting to get used to your area and know what's going on. But the engineer, they'll put all that down in their report, like he was just talking
Yep.
about.
Which we'll share with you once we get it.
Yeah, and I know we're going to talk, I guess it's on the agenda too, for the spectrum deal, because it seemed like we had a lot of line breakage with that and not much payback
Immense
for,
water
for the
usage.
water that was used. So I just have concerns about it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate
Any
it.
other questions? Somebody else has a hand up? No? Anybody else? Good. Thank you. Yeah. Ready for a tour? Let me, you want to start with these? Okay. Here's kind of a,
Yeah, they're giving us
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was for the row. That was for the row. Yeah, there we go. Oh, one's good? Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. We want to break it into two groups, but I want to make this statement here and I want to get it on record. Please, please keep this confidential. Please keep it confidential. Tammy brought up a good point to me, and I'm going to express it because I think you're a good conscience for our water company. She's worried about security. She's like, "Are you crazy about having a meeting over there? What happens if somebody hops the fence and smashes one of the valves?" Please keep this confidential and everything, because we're doing this as kind of a community thing to let you know what's happening behind the scenes, behind these fences, and what we really need to work on as we work on this operational audit. I think it's very good to say, what have you guys invested in the last 25, 30 years from a plant standpoint? And what do these guys do when you see the AWR trucks over here working? This is what they're working on. And Mike will give you some areas of concern back behind this building here when he takes you on a tour. So, go ahead.
My ignorance, AWR is the company that is managing?
We're just
Yeah.
water operators.
Yeah, they're the operator.
Water
They're
and
managing the plant.
We're
Yes.
just water and wastewater.
Testing?
They do all of the reporting. If there's a break, they come out, they dispatch. Yeah, they do all the water quality testing. They make sure we're up to standard. That's what these guys are. They've been full-time with us since the 1st of March. I'll say that. But they've been here since September of last year. Done a fabulous job, yes. Yeah, we like working with them. And like I said, on all these reports, they could report us to death because they've got all this information if we wanted to, between billing and everything. And I made a note that we'll go through that in the next meeting and show you all the mounds of data that you can have. Water loss, billing, metering, who's doing, who's using more water than anybody else. The customer data will be kept confidential, but it'll be shown. No.
There is a privacy
it'll be confidential. It'll be confidential. It'll just show that we can get to that granular if we wanted to. So that's what it is.
After each group goes through the building, make them give this back to you.
We could. Yeah, we thought about that. So if you'd like to give that back, or if you want to take it,
just
we're okay with it.
recover
Just keep on, just keep it confidential.
And then that way you don't have that problem.
Yeah. We thought about that. So, go ahead.
I have a question about our water tank supply. Have we ever had a leak big enough to drain the whole?
Not according to Mike. Nope. Yeah.
We did have a situation during the freeze.
Yeah, we had a
We
situation.
did a situation during the freeze where we couldn't make enough water to what was going out because of all of this.
Yes.
There were so many leaks and people didn't even know if they had leaks, right? With the
Oh,
freeze.
yeah.
And it was going out faster than we could produce it. That's why everybody was like,
Yeah, that's what
that
it
was, we were frantic then.
What period are you speaking to, ma'am?
That was in January, February with the big
Period
freeze.
is she speaking to that she knows that there's been no draining of the tank?
Oh.
What period are you speaking to, sir?
Since they came on board, since September.
Yeah, I think the gentleman probably meant, not more than the last 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
Well, overall, this is. There's people here who lived here a lot longer than I have.
Yes.
And ever since we've lived here, which is 5 or 6 years, maybe it's more than that. We've had problems with some major water leaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my question was, has the tank ever been drained because of a water leak?
I don't think, not since they've been on board, but, and I've only been on the board for a year and a month, and I haven't, had any reports given to me about that. Okay, go ahead.
Well, and if it did, how long, of course, if it wasn't freezing, how long would it take to
Recharge it? Yeah.
fill it back up?
Yeah, 100 gallons a minute. And I think that's 2 days?
I could pee on
Roughly
that.
about 2 days. Because you got to remember, you're sucking it out and you're making it, at the same time.
100 gallons a minute?
100 gallons a minute. Okay, why don't we take the first 2 rows?
Yeah.
And you know, it'll be a 5-minute tour. And where are you starting? You going this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna start at the end.
Yeah, the meeting's paused. Yep.
We're gonna start this way, even though we're gonna go the other side.
$1,300 bill that was sent to them that they have paid since then for their water usage. But that is all the documentation that the water company has. There was no contract between them, according to George. I've asked George 100 times. There was a handshake deal between George and what Lance's group was doing on the whole spectrum deal. It was basically driven by the POA. I wish I had more. We might.
That's not true. That is not true.
I'm just letting you know what. That's all. I don't have any documentation. High meeting as a board member within Windermere. We have not been given any documentation from George or found any. I don't know what agreements were made. I asked about it. Nobody wanted me to get involved in that.
It wasn't a POA.
Yeah, well, I don't know how it went about.
We don't either know.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody does. Now, I'm gonna divert for a second. We are in the process of going through that back shed back there. That's where all of our records are. We finally got the doors open because they were locked. Nobody could find the keys. We finally got into there. We are going. There are boxes, cardboard boxes of records in there. Nothing's dated. There's metal filing cabinets in there, and we are going through it page by page, file by file, and organizing it by year and by event. So anything related to, let's say, the rate appeal case will go into a separate area. That will all be contained. If we find anything about this, we'll let you know. But we have a hard time locating 2023 documentation right now. Last year's documentation. None of it was really turned over. We have a challenge getting our financials from our old accounting firm. Legal has been involved with them sending 2 demand letters already. One early on in this year and one as of early as last week. They're working through that.
The accounting firm can't keep them because it's our record.
We get that, but they're non-responsive. The lawyers are involved. You know, they have not listened to any one of us, so they have, you know.
We're still here. Nothing has been going on
Yep.
yet because they've been doing the
Yes.
damn tour.
Yeah, John Carlton's group has demanded the records for that because we need it for our audit that's underway, and we need it for
So they had
the IRS,
nothing
our
to add
IRS
because
audit
we
as
just
well.
got back into
So-
like the meat of the meeting.
Yep.
This is your bookkeeper that you hired.
No. This is the old one. This is the old one. Norton and Salinas, the one up in
I was supposed to walk out.
the one
That's
up
why
in
they
Marble
were
Falls, the
dragging
one
me. I wanted
that
to
left
let them
us
do
in
the
January
tour
13th,
at the end, but they
2020.
didn't do that. So,
The old accounting firm.
The old book.
all right.
The old bookkeeping firm, yes. We've asked for
No, well, there
2023
is. It'll
financials,
be,
and
but we'll see.
we've gotten a runaround. And like I said, our law firm, our current law firm, John Carlton's group, has written demand letters. I talked to them about it on Thursday, and they're reaching back out to them. And it's been a problem because we need it for, we have an audit going on, 2023, and we have the IRS audit. And we need some financials.
If you have an audit going on, you must have the accounting records, it's an audit.
We are missing many parts of it, of what they've requested. Yeah, Marvin, it's hit or miss. Some of them we got, some of them we don't. Some of them might be back in this storage, but nothing was organized. Nothing was labeled on the outside of the boxes. Some of the boxes just had a manila folder in there and a hanging folder. You'd have to go through each page. It's been kind of a nightmare. But we're working on that as far as getting our paper record management. That's what that building is behind us. It's conditioned. We're going to put everything up on blocks, so if we get water in there, we'll retain it. All current files, 7 years, will go in the big metal filing cabinets. The older files will be put in the banker's box. So, yeah, it's kind of a mess. Unfortunately.
Firm, the CPA firm?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a mess.
Yep. Yeah, we already did some.
How can they not have the records when, audits can be done forensically for anything on anybody, all accounting firms, everybody has to keep records.
Yes.
And Spectrum, why can't we put pressure on Spectrum as far as what we allow them to even come into this community and do if they don't make some kind of a deal to pay for the water that they use?
It was a handshake deal. You guys
It doesn't
wanna
matter
talk-
about that. I'm
Well, I
talking
know,
about
but
now.
go bring
I'm talking
George
about now.
back in. Go bring George and Rich Schaefer, because I asked
Why
in a
can't we
meeting, I
vote?
was
Why
on
can't-
the record to be on that committee, and nobody wanted me on there, because I was gonna do just that.
Why can't we just vote, take a vote and see whether or not we want to allow Spectrum to even be in this property right now if they don't square up on the water? I mean,
I don't know if it's a- I
we
don't
should
know
be
if
able
that's
to make a vote and say, see how many people want to have.
Yeah, I don't know if that's it's not the water company's issue, that's a POA issue. You know, all state wanted from us, yeah.
It involves water, but it's not a water department issue. I love it.
I don't know how Spectrum involved water, except they needed
They
water.
used it.
Yeah, they did use it, except for the drill rigs that they had. That's all I know. There was no meter. What should have happened is there should have been a meter on that hydrant, and there wasn't. And we would have known exactly what they took out of that. But nobody put a meter on that hydrant out there where everybody was taking.
I've never known.
There is a meter. Their meter reading is 1,000,001.
No,
Yes.
it's not accurate, Danny. I know you want to fight me on it. You've been
Brand
going
new
back
meter.
and forth
Oh,
about
boy.
it. That's not accurate, because they were flushing lines. If you go, I'm sorry, Danny, you don't have all the data. If you go
Yeah.
across the street into that new development, there's a meter at the end of there. They were flushing lines. It's just not accurate. There should have been a meter that was put on that fire hydrant.
All right, can I speak?
Yeah.
Can I
They
speak?
used half of what that million is.
Yeah.
Can I speak?
Half of it. They
So,
should- they haven't paid.
like I
for.
said, they did come back and they did give us an audit.
$1,300.
They totally paid us
That's
by
my water bill.
$1,900. So that's, hey, I'm just the information guy. I wasn't on the committee to run that project. I was told to stand down by
Yeah,
Rich
I
Schaefer
didn't do it.
and George.
I have one last thing to say. You told us in a meeting that there was a contract and you saw it.
I never said that.
Those people were gone.
I never
when
said
we
that.
tried to shut down that. You did.
Well, you want to pull up that
Yeah.
videotape? Feel free to, Danny.
You said there
I
was
would
a
never
contract.
said that because
said
I
there was a
never saw the
contract.
contract.
Okay.
Never.
Called due diligence.
Well, I would love to have been on it. You saw that I tried to be on that committee and I was taken down.
Gotcha.
And there are people in this audience that would back me up on that.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how to put the Spectrum thing to bed, but there's just no agreement between the water company and Spectrum on what they did, except the handshake. And George,
No agreement
I
broken.
met with
Right.
George about 30 days ago about it, face to face, and he goes, flat out said there was nothing except the handshake.
He said there should not be a 1099 contractor
Yep.
handling that.
Yep.
One of the board members should be overseeing that.
Yep.
And then I heard, well, George is our general manager, and that's his job.
Yep.
That's Rich Schaefer. It'll be on the video, Danny.
It'll be on the
Pretty
video.
good about
Yeah.
videoing.
I
Gotcha.
tried to get on that committee.
I recall that
Yep.
they waved him off.
Yep.
He did try. Now, as far as anything else he saw, no idea, but he did try.
Okay, moving on. The IRS audit. We had the IRS auditor here 7th, 8th, and 9th of April. 3 days that gentleman was here. He started at the water plant here. That's how I got an idea that this would be a good idea to have everybody come out here. He wanted to start here. His first thing out of his mouth when I finally talked to him was, I want to make sure you're real. So we want to meet at the corporate offices, which I thought was pretty funny. You know, I'm like, yeah. So he came in here and he was impressed. We gave him the same tour you would. He spent a day with our legal team and our accounting, and we don't expect that report till June or July, coming back to what they found as far as in the IRS audit for 2022. No idea. We have spent about a little over $8,000. I have the bill here from our legal team on it. It's about $8,000 we've spent on just handling the IRS audit for 2022. Will it be recovered? Don't know yet until we find out what the report is. If the report was simply a clerical error, it'd be tough to go back to the accounting firm. This is coming from the legal group
not me, it'd be tough to go back and try to recoup those fees from them. They've been in discussion with the Raven and Aaron, who was the people who signed the tax return for 2022, who prepared it, as well as Norton and Salinas on all that. Go ahead.
Small point.
Please.
Raven, they did the accounting, filling it out.
Yes.
But Richard Schaefer
Yeah.
was the person who signed.
Yeah, Schaefer was the board member who signed it in June of 2023 for the 2022.
Yes.
So I don't have any other information than that. Then we're spending money to go through that audit. I don't know what they're going to collect, if they collect it at all. If they ask, if we have any penalties or such, we won't know until we get the report back, which we're thinking in June and July. That's all I know today. Question? Anybody? Alan?
So that might be a little bit longer. There was another document dump 2 weeks ago, and I'm preparing another one.
Okay. For what? I mean,
Well, for the corruption that's going on with the income tax law.
okay. Are you sending it to where? You're
With
sending it
with,
to.
with prior board.
Okay. Is it going to go to the legal team?
I don't know. All I know is same guy you talked to. I've been in communication with, providing documents, and that's what's great about open records request. You get a lot of information on that stuff.
Okay.
And so I don't know what they're going to do with it. They may throw it in the
So
garbage can. I don't know.
So you've been in communication with that IRS agent that came up here, feeding him additional information about actions in 2022.
And before.
Okay. Okay. That's your got to give him a right. You can do that.
Yeah. And as I said in the last meeting, there's potential for some other three-letter federal government agencies to be snooping around. I don't know.
I mean, when the auditor came up, I did send an email to all the previous board members, knowing that this audit was happening, and that they might be in contact by our legal team or the IRS. And it went to former boards during that. I mean, it went to Joe, Rich, Dorothy, Jeff Anderson, Renee, myself, and Mike Nelson, all those people, just to let them know. And of course, they responded right back. What did they find? And I said, I don't know. Just letting you know that they might reach out to you.
Well, I will say this for the auditor or the investigator. He still says that he cannot release whether an investigation has been being conducted. He can just take whatever information that he thinks is something that they may need to look at.
I'm sorry, Alan, he can't believe what?
He can't report whether an investigation is going on.
Oh, yeah, he can't.
I go, well, okay, I have your letter with your name on it. That's okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
He can't. That's why I don't know much except what our legal team has invoiced us for, because it's all categorized out by event that they take place. IRS audit, compliance, PIA requests, and so on.
Like I said, they may throw it in the garbage. I don't know.
You don't know. That's why I don't have any update on it until I get a report. Question?
What's the chance of this going to a receivership, let somebody that really knows what's going on take it over?
I doubt that's going to happen. I seriously do. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an example that was brought up by Danny Flunker about who I asked AWR if they had anybody that would be interested in buying a water company. They did not. I even took it to Hal Landon, who's the owner of AWR. He didn't know of anybody. I contacted the president of Corax, who bought Ridge Harbor over there. Darren, who I talked to back in August when they left us as our operator. He knows who I was. Okay? Flat out, I shouldn't say flat out, his answer to me was no, they would not be interested in looking at buying us. I think it's because he knows that we're, what structure.
But I don't think going to, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think being put into receivership automatically means you become an IOU. That just means the PUC comes in, takes over for a while, cleans everything up, and then determines whether or not this goes back to the members.
PUC will not come in and take over the water company. They don't do that.
That's
know
what
where you get your
receivership
files.
is.
They do not do that.
They refer to the Attorney General.
They do not do
Okay,
that.
well then the Attorney General.
The Attorney General won't do it either. They will not do it.
The way state agencies handle receivership of any corporation in this state is they supervise, they oversee a third party who's
Right.
been
Right.
appointed to handle the receivership, but no agency handles any receivership of any kind in this state.
But I think people, what I'm trying to explain is that people assume because you're being put into a receivership, now you're going to be sold as an IOU, and that's just not necessarily the case.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why do we need to go into receivership?
Clean
What
it
the
up.
problem
Well,
is?
we only have one board member sitting up there right now managing everything. We're in
what do you think's
financial
gonna happen
issues.
when
We
the
have IRS.
receivership
I don't
comes in?
know. There's a whole list of things here today that we're addressing that are problems. I mean, we have corruption potentially from previous board members. We have land that is sold for to a board member that, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. If you have the history, you know. And it's time, I think people here in this community would like to know that our water supply corporation is for the members and that it's doing what it's supposed to do. I'm not necessarily for selling it. But I want to know that we have infrastructure, we have our finances are in order, our taxes are done properly. You name it, any list, a laundry list of things that a receivership would come in and help you through that process.
Isn't he working it
Instead
out
of it
now?
being run by a
Are we
law,
working it out now?
Aren't they
I really don't
addressing
understand.
all of
you know.
that, and here is your chance?
I don't know. I don't know, are they?
Well, everything you brought up is from the past board. That's.
I'm not
past
blaming you,
operator,
Jeff.
You know, we changed operator, we changed accounting firms, we got a new law firm.
But that doesn't make him or
Yeah,
I was
like-
even on it.
I didn't say he was responsible for all of it.
the other stuff that people did.
I didn't say he was responsible.
Nobody's saying anybody's responsible. We're just trying to get it stopped.
Right, that's
Looks
exactly
like
right.
That's what that is. He's
No.
working with IRS. They're working
Where's
with.
the rest of the board? Nobody wants to be a part of this
And why is
mess.
that?
Because it's a
past
mess.
history.
Because the IRS is coming in. Because
I'm
our
not afraid
taxes
of
aren't
the
done
IRS.
properly.
Do you know that? And I wasn't worried about the mess. I was the bookkeeper. I put a lot of time. It wasn't the work. It was other
Well,
things.
you are of a different opinion, but I think a lot of people here would like to know that what we're doing is right for the company.
They're
Get on,
putting it,
get on the board.
they're putting it out here. I've seen more stuff addressed in the last couple meetings than I have in at least the year or two that I actually started watching everything. I've seen a lot more. Here's your chance. It can be right. I don't want to
You're
see
the
it
one who ran on the board and quit, not me.
That's it.
this is a company that doesn't need to be run by
You have
a
no
bunch of
business being in the
neighbors.
water.
Doesn't know what
These are
they're
just
doing.
lay people. I mean,
Period.
we need people that are professional that know how to do this.
We have bright
We would,
people
you know,
here.
Jeanette, you're absolutely 100% right. We do need a general manager that runs this place. The board should just be, and the members should just be looking out to what the GM is. We don't have any money to hire one.
Okay, so we're
I mean,
in great
GM would be
shape.
great
We're
to
in
have.
great
What
shape.
happened to
Let's
all
not
the
bring
rate
in a,
that was
yeah, whatever.
What happened to
I
what?
went
Yeah.
to a couple of people's legal fees.
I mean,
our
how
legal
many,
expenses-
how are we
out of
gonna
this-
pay
out of
all
this
of our
world.
legal fees that we're incurring right now? How are we gonna pay all of that?
We had an attorney come to a meeting, not this attorney, and speak about the process. And I have the video of it, and Jeff's just, I mean, yes, yes, yes. Now, when he's sitting up there, no.
What do you mean no? What kind of statement is that, Danny? What is the no? You know, the process is, here's our legal bills, people.
And they just keep
I can go through them individually and they know what they're working
Have
on.
you ever seen them before?
Stop
Before a
the
meeting?
spend.
Right there.
Stop the spend.
How do you do that when you have to
Let
have,
it go.
you have an IRS,
What, just
tell the
let 'em take the money
IRS.
and go, huh?
No, let all you guys got to let the history go. It's over. Why? What are you going to do?
No,
I mean, what's it going to? What does it bring to us
The
except
history keeps going. We
expenses?
just had another land deal that's crooked as hell.
Another land deal?
Another land deal?
What are you
So-
talking about?
Yeah. What? Explain that one, please. Another land deal? Nothing got sold by the water company.
So let me get this straight.
The paying a board
All
member
the
buying land
stuff
is
that's
not
happened
right.
in the
Well,
past.
again, Jack, that's history. I can't. We can't do anything about that in today's world. I can't do anything about the taxes that were filed in 2020, 2021, 2022. I can't, as a board member, can't do anything about that. I could do it about 2023 because we haven't filed it yet. We'll file them correctly. Yeah, going forward.
So what you're saying is history doesn't matter, just move forward. But the history is what got us here today. And if we keep repeating history, we still have the same problem.
Michelle, tell me what we're repeating.
I don't know. We haven't had an audit. We don't know.
Well, that's what but the audit is happening.
How are you going to pay for it?
Hey, everyone, I would like to, I did not come here to talk about this, but I think that the benefit of experience might be of some value to this entire discussion, both sides. I have done over a dozen receiverships with the Department of Insurance and with the Department of Banking. All right? I can tell you that in all of them, the only person that made money was the receiver. In almost all of the instances, it ended up getting put into bankruptcy. In one instance, through some political working behind the scenes, one came out of receivership and went bankrupt within a year. So I get the passion, please, for receivership, and I understand, but I'm telling you, the odds are overwhelmingly a losing proposition. And then the next piece of this is, what do they look at to make a determination about receivership? They don't look at a land deal in 2016. They don't look at litigation in 2017, 18, 19, and 20. They look at the financial picture as it is right here and now. So all of this arguing about all these things that have happened and have already been litigated, none of them are of consequence to a receiver or the state agency that is going to make a determination, yeah, put it in receivership. So it's the here and now that matters for that discussion. Nothing last year, year before, maybe last year, but that would be about it. So, but keep in mind that this is one of those things where you likely would regret what you're asking. Because in over 20 years, no receivership has worked out well for the entity that was put into receivership. Biggest problem you have is the state agency gets to oversee everything the receiver does. The state agency does not want to be accountable to any consumer, any politician, legislator about what has happened with that receivership. So they're going to be at the extreme conservative about anything.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
So understand that if you want to force it into receivership, you're going to have to persuade PUC to buy into that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They've already got an order on you. But I'm just telling you, you'll bankrupt it. And the only person that's going to walk away with money as a result of this, and if you want to make a receiver wealthy in the short term, that's your decision. But I'm not sure that's a smart business decision.
Well, right now we're just making
opinion.
attorneys wealthy.
Yeah. Well, hang on a second, Michelle. Let's go through that. Here's their bill. Here's our legal, John Carlton's bill. It's broken down by project. Look at the projects. Here's what they're working on. PIA requests. We spent...
But an attorney isn't supposed to be doing PIA requests. The board members are supposed to do that, but we don't have a board.
Well, it doesn't
So
matter.
it defaults to the attorney.
Michelle, it doesn't matter if you have a board, full board or not about PIA requests. You still have to give it to legal for review.
No, you don't.
Danny, I'm sorry.
It's in
You want to know
the PUC documents.
something? That means, let me tell you something. The Joe Gemini's request that came through that said he wanted the election ballots for the removal. Did you want me to send them to him?
Yes.
Why? That has your personal information on it.
You have it
can't do
redacted.
that.
You don't send it over to the attorney.
That's
He's
right.
not a lawyer that knows what to redact.
Exactly. What to redact or not, you have to do that.
I think my information is pretty public already. I mean, I get that someone doesn't want that. But
No,
surely you can get...
That's just an example.
Well, he doesn't have a right to how I vote, but he does have a right to know whether I voted or not.
Yes, but he does have a he
And
does
what
have
the
a right
count
to know
is-
who you voted for, but somebody's got to go manually through all
Okay,
that.
well, there's a
Who's gonna
secretary.
do that?
Secretary right there. He's sitting right there.
Okay.
Let him do it.
This is why we have.
And
I'm
for the
sorry,
record,
if
Renee French had the information that I requested and didn't give it to me.
You know, our records management, if anybody wants to go back to the back room over there, I'd be more than happy to go back there. It's a mess. I'm sorry. We inherited that. It's a mess. There's filing cabinets in there with folder after folder that nothing's labeled. I can't go in there and say, oh, 2023 election results. Cannot do that at this time. We have a team that's working on that, going back almost 10 or 15 years. Organizing it. It's in cardboard boxes.
Who's the team working on it? AWR?
Lori Cottrell. Lori and her team is out there
Lori's
doing it,
still
a page
around.
at a time. She knows exactly. We had a conversation with the law firm, what we need to retain, how long we need to retain it, and what we
So
should be retaining.
if Joe Jimenez wants a request and he wants to know, can she redact the information?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then why isn't he getting it? Did you give it to him?
Yes. There are PIA requests that they're working on. We don't have the data. Some of the data we don't. The 2023 removal election, I just literally got like in the 1st of March.
Okay, but
George.
But you're saying you don't want to go back. We don't have records. We can't do PIA requests. Our
That's not what
records
I'm
are mess,
saying. I'm not
and we
saying
need
that.
to
I
do
can't
all this.
fulfill them right
but
now.
hey, it's
Yeah.
all good.
Well, you know, give us some time to organize that. God, literally, this board just got put on 90 days ago.
You've been on there
You've
for
been on there
over
a year, Renee's
But
been
I
on
had
there a
no
year.
control, Danny.
Yeah.
How did Renee and I have control of those 3 other board members? We didn't until February 24th.
When was the election?
February 24th.
Okay.
90 days. And you guys want a miracle.
You were on there before that, and I requested emails from both you and Renee and didn't get them.
Well, but I went to the PIO officer. You don't come to me
That was
individually.
information
I have to
that
go to
you
the PIO
had.
officer. Talk to Rick Schaefer. Don't put me on there to say, oh, you requested my emails, and it goes to Rick Schaefer, and he didn't send them to you. Rick Schaefer got a notice in February or November 8th or 9th from the AG office about PA requests that he didn't fulfill. How do we handle that? Rick Schaefer got a letter from the Attorney General's office that did not satisfy the PA request from the 3/4 of the year in 2023. What am I supposed to do about that? It's a valid member making the complaint to the AG's office. How do you handle that? I got to send it up to legal. There's no other way to do it. I can't.
Mine aren't up at the AG yet, but they will be because
Great.
there's no excuse for you not giving me the emails that you and Renee have.
Go for it.
That's right.
We've given it to
There
the
you
attorneys.
go. I said
Go
Jeff is
for
the
it,
new
Danny.
Joe.
Go for it.
Gemini sat up there right there in that spot and said, "Do it."
No, I'm saying you have every right to go to the AG's office. We have provided every single email on your request to our attorney. And if
Three
you
of
don't
them
think
got
it's
completely
accurate,
ignored.
if you don't think it's accurate, then we need to know about that. If you think our emails are not complete, this is what we have.
Yeah.
Again, record retention.
Yeah.
Do you know how much your PIA requests have cost this company?
Well, tell me.
$13,000.
Tell me. $13,000 because the emails that sit in these two fellas' email boxes they refused to give me, and you too, Judy. I asked for documents that you had and you didn't give them to me.
You know what you did? You sent to Jeff and to Renee requests, and you said, and I'm going to CC Judy Miller because she knows too. I was no longer a board member. I was
It
a board
doesn't
member
matter. Those are
18
company
days.
documents, Judy.
You asked for my original.
They're company
let me
documents,
finish,
Judy.
Let me finish. You asked for my original application for the board. You know what? Applications were sent out for 3 board members during the election. That was Jay, Julie, and me. My question, I always wondered is, did you ask for theirs too, or is there something odd about mine?
There was something odd about you, quite frankly.
Good, because I'm asking. You
Chill
know
out,
what?
Grizz.
And then you wanted other things, credential committee applications. No animal exists.
But you can't.
You didn't
You
ask
can't
me for those
condemn
things.
someone.
You said, Judy has these. You didn't say.
You can't
Judy,
condemn
could
someone.
you show me this? No, you
We
didn't
need,
ask
we need
me
to all
for
look
that.
the other way.
Right, you can't condemn someone who is a member of this water supply corporation that is asking for a PIA request. That's their right to do that. And it should be easily, and I get that you don't have any.
He just asked me, but he sit there.
I'm not talking to you, Judy, I'm talking to Jeff. And it should be easy, and I get that it's not, but that is part of our issues here. We have no record retention.
Exactly.
And so,
March 17th.
right. So,
How long ago was that?
so we,
April,
but
May?
you keep saying we don't have any problems.
2 months.
It's all good. We can handle this.
2 months you can ask for my emails from, and I've provided every single one of them. I am not the PIO officer.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't
Never mind.
send single
I'm done.
requests
I'm done
to
with this
There's a
conversation.
process.
Done.
You know that, Danny. Who was the PIO officer up to March 17th of 2024? Julie Newman.
Okay, and Julie's no longer on the board.
Exactly. Okay, her request went into the law firm, and they were provided to you. If you don't think so, I'll have you come over to my laptop. You can audit my laptop. I
I'm
don't
not
care.
going anywhere near you, Jeff.
And don't imply that I'm withholding things. You asked for draft.
Yes.
You asked for draft minutes
You
for
did.
2 meetings, which I supplied. I sent them to the board members. They were posted, the draft minutes. That's no big secret. My application was no secret, Danny. If you just said, Judy, could I see that? But you didn't. You made a deal out of it.
You have to
This
make a
guy and
request.
This guy, Cece, Judy has this. It was underlined.
You
like
have to
I'm
make a request.
Doing something weird.
That
I
is
have
the
to-
law.
It may be, but you know what, Danny? I know you. And she said, could I see that? I would have handed it to you.
Okay,
You
so
just
back to
said-
the original question.
Let's go back. We're
Where
done.
are we spending money?
Done.
PIA requests, investigations, and so on. You have to put them through legal for legal review
Yeah.
to keep the corporation whole. And I'm sorry, Brian, you got your hand up.
I just been witness to a little bit of information and then a question and answer series. Right? I'm here to listen to the board, give me updates on the things that are on this agenda. I do not see question and answer period on that agenda. Also, the TOMA, Open Meetings Act, very peculiar about how they suggest you run a meeting. Now, the board has gone beyond those suggestions, and this is what we get in return. So I'm asking if you, maybe on behalf of others, I don't know, I'm asking that you return to the agenda, limit the discussion for each of those topics to something reasonable, and that way we can all get out of here in a reasonable amount of time, because we all have lives. And
Got it.
it is great to see so many people here. It's awesome. But you have to be responsible with that as well.
Agreed.
I'll second that.
Okay. Legal expense, if anybody wants to see them, here they are. They're broken down by event, by category, what they're working on. They're working on a lot of things, our legal team is. They're working on the IRS audit. Do we know if we can charge the fees back to Norton and Salinas yet? Don't know until the audit comes out. But we still got to pay for the expense out of our pocket today until we get the audit done. That's the only way we can do it. That's a spend.
One question. Is there any legal expense, any legal work done on receivership possibility and what might occur?
Nope,
Thank you.
not at all. PUC compliance and CCN, they have deadlines and documents that have to go back to the compliance filing that we've been under for the PUC. Again, that's another legal expense. We got ourselves into that a long time ago. Compliance filing, we have to make sure they hit that deadlines. And they have to go in through the interchange. That all comes from legal. The CCN, if anybody wants to know, it's a cluster. It's for the 4 lots across the way. The application was filled out by George, unbeknownst to any of the board members at the time, and we're trying to address that. It's costing us money that we do plan to charge back to Mr. Madigan. But again, we are putting cash out on all these until we can recover on the back end. We can't do anything about it because we have to keep moving forward. That's another thing we have. And then the audit of LG invoices. I'm curious, Danny, has anything been done on that?
Considering that the guy that was helping me is perished, and we never met, no.
Okay. I was just curious if you had any findings on that.
Can we get the amounts for PCs and the D.
Oh,
Amount, how much has been spent the IRS audit today?
The IRS audit, about $8,000
In legal fees,
in legal fees.
And compliance?
or financial audit,
Yep.
an income tax audit?
Yep.
Or the audit of your financial statements?
No, that's the IRS audit.
And lawyers pays $8,000?
We have paid the $8,000 to them to get all the records, get it from Norton and Salinas, get all of it compiled of what they were asking for us. Yes, sir.
You spent $8,000 on lawyers to get your own accounting records?
Yes.
He didn't have them.
You went in first and they wouldn't give
I'm
it
telling
to
you, they
him.
wouldn't give it
That's
to us,
better
Marvin.
than
You guys
that.
think that's, you know, I'd love for you guys to get up here and make some calls and try to get this shit. It doesn't happen. I mean, they're not over there trying to outspend us or anything. We keep a tight ring on them. They know.
These are your
Go to the toy shed. You bet you
board
find lots of documents there.
keepers that won't give you your accounting records,
That's correct.
and you've spent $8,000 in legal fees, and
Yep.
where does it
Compliance
stand-
fees,
where-
everything.
Where does it stand now, sir?
Well, we have one more set of records that they've requested.
Oh, so you've got many of the records, but only one?
Yeah, we've got one left that the IRS is waiting for. Now,
Which one?
I don't know if any more are coming from what Mr. Hicks just told me. I have no idea.
I can't tell you either.
Yeah, he doesn't know. There could be more coming. I don't know.
Which records are you waiting for? Which records?
There is some banking that he wanted some clarification on some checks, on front and back sides of checks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those can be fine.
Exactly. Those are easy, but everything flows through one thing. You think the accounting firm's going to handle our you know, they're not going to. Our new accounting firm's not going to take over the audit. We had to bring in our legal team to make sure they're all legal and everything is on a nice bow and such. Costs money.